This is an Ellis Mowers and Mower small engine repair. Stay connected on Instagram and Facebook at Ellis Mowers and More. Comments or questions? Leave them below or email me, ellis@ellismowers.com. Parts used in today's repair are found using the links in the description below. And as always, like and subscribe for more small engine content. On today's repair, we're going to work on the first mower I got out of this $200 John Deere lot, the lot of 4 machines. This is the LX266. It's got a 16 horsepower Kohler on it, 42-inch deck. Been sitting a while. Y'all saw I cleaned it up in the super clean video at the end of 2023. We're going to get started right here, probably one of the first projects here of the 2024 season here on Ellis Mowers and More. Already kind of started a little bit because it had all the ingredients. I've already cleaned it, like I said. It had all the ingredients to where I thought it would potentially start for me. So, spoiler alert, I already didn't start it, but I'll give y'all a look around it really quickly, just out of things that I may need to do to it here in the coming video. Doesn't look like it's going to need a lot. Obvious thing is discharge chute, so we'll take care of that. But we also will likely need to do just a service, and we definitely need to do blades, and we have an issue with one of the deck mounts that needs to be re-welded. So in this video we'll get all that taken care of, and hopefully we'll have a good running LX266 John Deere here by the end of it. Hopefully this will be a short one, guys. It doesn't look like it's going to be too much. I'll show you around the machine. I'll show you that it runs and drives, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of working on fine-tuning everything to get it ready for sale for the spring. Now obviously the biggest negative of this is that the hood's missing. So that's the biggest negative. Obviously we're missing a discharge chute as well. Got an LX266. There's the model number for it. I do not know the year of this machine, but usually they are around early 2000s. So you're talking about 20 years old, give or take a couple, and it's going to be a really, like I said, really nice machine after we get it all said and done. Literally all I did was pull it off the trailer, wash it, and that's all I've done so far, so that's good. And just giving a walk around, y'all saw the missing discharge chute, and the blades are toast on it, so got that as well. And the left rear valve stem is cracked and dry rotted, and it's not holding air. So that, and then I think all the other tires may have tubes in them. Got to do a little bit of cleaning to the deck. It seems like the belts are good because it cut grass. Or didn't cut grass, but it, you know, did what it needed to in terms of mowing. So we're going to look under here. It almost looks like this rear deck mount has been reattached at some point. But the issue is, and I'll lower the deck so we can see it. It's almost dark out here too. So we'll lower the deck down and look here. This is where most of our work's going to be in. So you see this deck mount is starting to separate from the deck. So we're going to have to rectify that, hopefully make it a little bit better. This is the 42-inch model. So, like I said, it looks really good after I cleaned it. The battery is from 2021, so I'm hoping that the battery is going to be good on it as well. And where is it? Right there, 6 of 21. It's a Napa Lawn and Garden battery, and hopefully we'll be in good shape here before long. So I got the jump box hooked up to it. I thought this thing would have maybe 400 to 600 hours on it. I forgot how well these machines age outside of the hoods. Check out how many hours are on it. Almost 1,100. So that's a lot. I have to push the brake in. Give it a little boost. There we go. 1,097.4 hours. Let's crank it again. Come on now. Don't make a liar out of me. All right. I did check the oil before we did this. So forward and backward. Right? Looking good. Blades. Somebody's already disabled the reverse. Good on them. Pulling this thing up to do reverse is a little unnerving sometimes. While I've got it running, I'm going to go ahead and pull it in the garage because we're expecting some rain. Don't want it to get wet again since I'll be working on this very soon. And we'll get into the nitty-gritty here in a few. Well, a couple days and a couple inches of rain later, sorted out some things. We're gonna see if we can get this thing actually ready for sale today. The battery charged up, which is a plus. I have a set of blades that I bartered for like a push mower carb clean that go right on this machine, so that's good. And we're putting a tire tube in this. Now the best way to go about it for me, I usually just take out, you can, if you have a tire iron or whatever, as long as you can break the bead on this tire, which luckily this one wasn't too hard to do, it's pretty easy to get the tire in. The little blue line goes on the inside, and you just stick your valve stem in. I just have some pliers or some vice grips holding it in place for right now so it doesn't slide out while I'm putting the new tube in. And the bigger tires are a little bit easier to do as well. So that's, you know, if you haven't done one of these before, start on a bigger tire. You just kind of push the tire in and work the tube around. It does kind of get caught up. I actually had somebody at a tire shop say there ain't no way that I could do it like this, and I was like, well, I sure did. Done it dozens of times like this, actually. Now, I would have put ATF in it, but you can see this dry rot crack's pretty bad, and also the valve stem was rotted. I don't have a valve stem currently here at the house. They're actually coming today. They were supposed to come yesterday, but figured that longer term for this tire, especially a tube, would be a better option. So we're just kind of sliding everything in here. Getting the tube over. Getting the tire over the tube here, which if you're careful you can kind of work a pry bar in here as well to push the tube back in there, because it does get a little bunched up in whatever area that you do last, as you can see right here. So if we can unbunch it, get it down in there. And we're almost there. Okay, so we're in right there. The last area to get it over is where the actual valve stem is, so we're going to do that here last but not least. Alright. I think that'll resolve itself when we pump it up. So let's go ahead and grab my little air compressor. Had one of these a couple weeks ago on that LA100. I could not get the bead off of the tire for the life of me, and it was rough. We're pumping up here. Let's see. Tell me I got a dead tube. No, we're good now. Just don't have it locked in good enough. Got to evacuate all that air in there too. Boom. We'll go ahead and get it up to 12 pounds and see what we end up having to do after that. So that's done. We're gonna work on the deck next. While this is pumping up, I'll show you the mounts that you have to take off. So this is your PTO belt here that you have to loosen for the PTO in the front here. And you have your bracket in the back, then there's one on the other side, and then you slide the deck forward to get it over that front mount, and then it just slides out. Easy as that. Well, here's the underside of the deck. I'll show you what we've got to work on here. And after we do this, we'll change the oil and service it, and this thing will be ready. Fantastic, right? So obviously the blades are toast. I have blades, so that's a big plus. Other thing we've got to fix on this, aside from aligning the deck, is the deck bracket on the left rear, which, can I even see it from right here? Yes. So it attaches kind of right here, and it's bent back like it's faced an impact or something, and it likely has. Just mowing where it was cutting. The deck, this secondary belt is okay for the condition of the mower with it missing a hood. It's going to be perfectly fine. The drive belt underneath looks good. The primary deck belt looks good. And we just need to sort this bracket out. So I just got to get a hammer, knock it back into place, grind everything down to metal here so that we can have a nice clean weld and put it all back together. So these are an 18 millimeter, I believe, to get off. So I'll take those off. I'll put those blades on, knock that deck bracket back into place, and then we should be ready to go when it comes to putting all this back together. So I'm excited. Shouldn't be too much here to get this going. We'll turn around this $200 mower lot fairly quickly, since this is going to be a $400 to $500 machine when we get done with it. Alright, so I put the new blades on and welded the bottom portion of this. Welding job's getting a little bit better. I ain't no pro, but we're getting there. So we fused it all back together after I hammered it back into place. Probably just touch it up with a little bit of primer. One thing that happens a lot on these John Deere decks, I don't know if you can see, but this this blade is sitting lower than this blade. It's not because of any shims or anything, it's because the actual spindle has been pushed up on it. And you can see it. I don't know if I can do it with one hand. I'll show it to y'all here. Oh, if you kind of look with the deck here, you can kind of see where it's actually popped up on one side. So what I'm going to do is get the spindle off, and we're going to put the we're going to just knock it back down with a hammer. So all that is it looks like this is a few 1/2-inch bolts here, and all I have to do is take those off. Should be relatively easy to do, and then just take this 18mm back off, hammer it back down, get those blades back aligned again, because that's enough to be a noticeable difference, and we're not going to let that ride. So I'll take the spindle off. Like I said, just these 4 bolts. I'll take this 18mm back off. The spindle just drops right out. I'll turn the deck over and hit this side from the top to knock it back down some. Alright, I've put all this stuff, gotten this deck ready except for cleaning. I took the little 42C cover off here because there's a bunch of dirt and grime and stuff down underneath. Overall, this deck's not in terrible shape. I did go ahead and paint this up a little bit. We're not looking for a showpiece here. We're just looking for something good that runs and cuts grass. So we look underneath. I just threw a little primer on it, and then I was able to knock down the blades to where they are much closer now, if they're not right on the money. So that's excellent. That'll help me level the deck a little bit more, or in a little bit easier. One other thing I have to sort out, I just have to wash the deck and just figure out some sort of discharge chute. I have a few discharge chutes in the shed in there. I just need to figure out one that'll work out pretty well for this machine. Once I figure all that out, it'll be ready to be put back on the mower, and the mower will be ready to, just got to service the mower, oil change. The air filter was a little bit rough. I'll show you what the air filter looked like. Just caked with dirt, nothing, it was just dirty. But battery, like I said, charged back up, so that's good. And we have a new air filter on it. We'll change the oil in it. The belts are good enough. And like I said, this air filter, you can see, was pretty caked up. So like I said, put another air filter on it. One thing that's turned out really nice though was the seat. I was really happy with how the seat turned out. That in itself is pretty good. I think this is a replacement seat for this machine too, because the other ones have the John Deere logo on them, and like I said, they're usually separating. So really good. It's going to be a 1,000-hour machine, and I'll wash the deck and get it all back together, find a discharge chute solution, and we'll just finish this thing up. Alright, so we've got everything back together, just the deck mounts on. And the way that you level this deck, I'll show y'all. You've got a height adjuster right there beside the clip. Same on the other side, and then your front adjustments are right here. Now I think this deck has been a little bit bent. It did not, it took a little bit of TLC to get this thing to where it would finally be level, and a little crazy, but put the primary deck belt back on. The new blades are on it, so, and I think, let's see, I've got the park brake on, and trying to do that on me. Y'all can hear it's running smoother too. All I had to do was back out the air fuel mix a little bit. It was running a little bit too lean. So that's good. Gotta make sure I'm not having issues with my starter solenoid though. Let's try this again. Yeah, I think it may have been a one-off. All right, let's test this thing out. Oh, by the way, a discharge chute. I found that on a Scott's mower. Actually, that one right there, Scott's and John Deere, the same, one and the same on these models around this time. All right, let's see if this belt will, or this deck will work. There we go. Working good. Take two, I had a visitor. Running good. Like I said, I think they disengaged the rear reverse, because you're usually supposed to pull up on the PTO switch for that. I'll tell you what, it's running good. No grass to cut, so we just blow the pine straw off this time of year. As much put gas in this thing. It's running on the gas that's in it when I got it. So I'm gonna blow off the driveway, finish that up, and we'll wrap this video up. 1100 hours, still cruising along. And so here we are. We've finished everything up on this John Deere LX266, excuse me, and it's working just fine. Good news is I think it was working when they parked it. I don't know if they just upgraded to an X300 or something along those lines that was a little bit bigger in cut, since they had a little bit more to cut around there. But I'll tell you what, some of the hardest mowers to kill are mowers like this. Y'all seen on the channel, I've had one that had over, this one was a LX277, but still had over 2,200 hours on it and still cruising along like it was nothing. And pretty crazy. Really the only negative on these is the hoods. The hoods will break and they just don't look good, but man, they'll run and cut for a long time. This one right here with about 1,100 hours is going to do the same now that we've refreshed it, fixed the deck bracket on it, and put some new blades, leveled the deck, changed the oil, did a little bit of a carb adjustment, gave it a good wash, ready to rock and roll. Remember, I have $200 into 4 John Deeres. This is only one of them. I'm going to list it for $500 because the hood doesn't really allow it to have very good, you know, value when it's missing. But hey, whoever buys this is going to last. This thing's going to last a while. So I really do appreciate y'all watching. I hope y'all enjoyed this video coming through this LX266 John Deere, and let me know what y'all think about these machines. They're some of my favorites because just of the longevity and the build quality of them, save for the cheap plastic hoods, is really good. And I don't know if y'all had the same experience. So thanks again, and I'll catch y'all on the next video. Take care.